Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rachel's Reviews. We are really excited today to be talking about the next 3 months of movies. We're going to be previewing like we do every quarter here on the podcast. And I'm always delighted to have my friend David Healy here.
Thanks for having me as always, Rachel. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Did you have a good holiday season?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I got to go see my family in Kentucky. I got to watch a few movies. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you want. And I watched a few Christmas movies. Just a few, only 115.
Wow.
So that was exciting. But yeah, it was a busy time for me, but it was really rewarding, and I'm excited about the next couple months. We have a pretty eclectic grouping of movies coming out, so we are going to go through them, and if you're listening, let us know what you think and what you're excited about, and it'll be really fun. So let's dive in. The first weekend we're going to talk about is the 7th of February. And it is, the first movie is the Birds of Prey movie with the emancipation, whatever, of Harley Quinn, all the long title. What do you feel about this movie and the trailer and everything?
So I was actually pretty excited about this when I first heard about it. But then when I saw the trailer, it just looks like more of the same to me. And I was really hoping DC was starting to up their game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really sure. I'm pretty guarded about this one.
Yeah, I have no interest in this at all. Like, it is not for me. I do not like Harley Quinn as a character. I think she's very annoying, whether animated or in live action. And I just decided that this year, if I am not being paid by somebody to review it, I'm not going to see a superhero movie that I don't want to see, as because it's just too toxic. It doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't help my career in any way, and I just don't want to do it anymore. And I'm not going to see this movie, like I said, unless I have to for my job. I just, it's just too toxic.
Okay.
And I just think this looks terrible. I mean, maybe if everybody's like, it's so great and so good, and you got to see it, maybe I would go. But I'm pretty much planning on skipping this one. So I don't know. It just looks terrible to me.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say it looks terrible for me, but it definitely doesn't look great. But
Yeah.
Harley Quinn was one of my favorite parts of, I can't even remember the name of that
Oh,
movie.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. Yeah, I've just completely written it out of my memory. So,
Yeah. So
yeah,
if you were saying your excitement level 1 to 5, where would you say?
I would say 2.5.
Okay. I'm going to say a 1 or 0. I have no interest in it. All right. Then on the 7th, we have Come to Daddy. So I thought this was a pretty effective trailer,
Hmm.
a thriller. It kind of reminded me a little bit of 10 Cloverfield Lane, a little bit.
Yeah. Yep.
In Yeah, and which I love. I think that's a 10 Cloverfield Lane is a great movie. It Elijah Wood, his dad, he's visiting. He hasn't seen him in a long time. It's getting more and more creepy the longer he's there. Yeah, I like this trailer.
Yeah, I did too. It also kind of reminded me of The Lighthouse in a weird way.
I can
Um,
see that.
But yeah, I think that Elijah Wood has had a pretty interesting career, especially after The Lord of the Rings. He
Hmm.
hasn't been in too many very big commercial hits, if any. I can't
Hmm.
think of any. But yeah, I think he makes choices for which movies he wants to be in, and I trust his judgment, and I think this looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be pretty high on it. I'm gonna give it a. I'd say my interest level is. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
give it a 3.5.
Yeah. All right. Then we have To All the Boys. P.S. I Still Love You. And did you see the original?
I did. I mean, I had heard so much hype about it, so I watched it. It was very good. It wasn't my one of my favorites of that year, but it was definitely worth watching. So I'm kind of looking forward to this.
Yeah, it looks cute. I'm looking forward to it. I do feel like the first one is a little overrated.
Hmm.
Um, my problem with the first one is I felt like all the male characters were kind of manic pixie dream guys. They just they had no personalities themselves. They just did whatever the female character kind of wanted them to do, and as opposed to I think the truly great romantic comedies where you get some pushback, you get some personality, you get some uh from the guy character. And so this, it looks fine, it looks cute, uh but I think it'll be a little bit, I'll still have that problem, I think. But I like the lead character, she's super cute. And I think for, especially for teens, I think it's very, very sweet and likable. And so yeah, I mean, I'd give it like a 3.
Okay. Yeah, I would. Well, first of all, I think it's kind of interesting that they're bringing in some of the other characters that they didn't really go into in the first movie.
Yeah.
And I know it's based on a book, but I haven't read it. So, but yeah, I'd probably say my excitement level is around a 2.
Hmm. Yeah. And the other thing is the casting of the one sister was so strange. She seemed so much older than the lead girl to me.
Hmm.
But so I don't know if if that will still be the same in this one, but it was a small part, so it didn't matter too much. But anyway, but yeah, we get to see Noah Centineo, who I think is has big star potential. He's so
Hmm.
charming. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens with his career. But there we go on Netflix. I feel like it's the kind of movie that everybody just assumes that I'm going to love. Um, but I don't just automatically love all romantic comedies. It depends how well I think it's done.
Right.
Um,
Makes sense.
but all right, then the 14th we have Downhill, and I think this will be playing at Sundance. It's one of those ones that's a little irritating to me about Sundance now, that you go to so much work to get your tickets and to go to the festival, and then it comes out like 2 weeks later, or like a week later. Like,
Right.
it'd be nice if because the festival used to really help these super small movies, and now it's so many of the films, like last year, Velvet Buzzsaw, for instance,
Hmm.
was literally out on Netflix the same time that it was premiering at Sundance. Like, oh, that's it's kind of not in the spirit, I don't think, of this festival. But anyway.
Don't be greedy, Rachel. Let us have movies too.
But anyway, I think this looks funny. I kind of wish it was more of a family comedy instead of sort of a Sundancey, edgy comedy, but it looked pretty good. I think I wouldn't have thought to put Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Will Ferrell together, but I think they could be good. Now, what do you
Yeah.
think?
I just saw this trailer today. I didn't really know about this, so I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know if it's not getting like a super wide release or what, but yeah, I thought it looked pretty intriguing, especially since it all seems to center around like one thing that Will Ferrell character does.
yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was pretty intriguing, and it doesn't look like your typical Will Ferrell movie.
yeah. It definitely looks more Sundancey,
Yeah.
kind of a. It kind of reminded me of sort of like a Noah Baumbach kind of type of comedy, or Greta Gerwig, or that kind of style.
Mm-hmm.
of indie comedy. So hopefully it'll be good.
Hopefully.
I give it a 3.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3 also.
Yeah. So then on the 14th we have Fantasy Island, and this is pretty creative. Instead of just doing a version of the television show, they've done this sort of horror version of the show, and I think that Michael Pena is pretty brilliant casting. That he'll be fun. I don't know. What do you think?
So I'm not really familiar with Fantasy Island at all.
Uh huh.
All I know is the plane. That's all I know about Fantasy Island. Um, so when I saw this trailer, I didn't realize what it was until the title came up, and I was pretty intrigued. It does kind of give me like CW horror vibes,
Uh huh.
but I mean, it still could be good.
Hmm.
So I'm like cautiously optimistic. So can you tell me about the original
I
Fantasy
mean,
Island?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen like a whole episode,
Okay.
but as far as my understanding, it was more of a like comedy type
Okay.
show. Like something, it was around the same time, the era of like the Love Boat,
Right.
and so I think that to do this horror spin on it is kind of creative
Yeah.
and different. So yeah, I mean, and it looked kind of schlocky. I do agree with you there, but I think for horror fans, hopefully it'll be a fun ride. I'm trying this year. My goal is to try to get over my horror bias and
Yay.
to see more. uh, so maybe I'll go see it. I don't know. It depends. But that's one of my goals for the year.
Okay.
It's a pretty busy weekend. But I don't know. What will you give it?
You know, it's tough. I could give this a really high score or a low score, but I'll just say 3, which is kind of in the middle there. Just because I'm really not sure what to expect.
Yeah. Then we have also on the 14th, we have the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and I'm kind of intrigued. I have to admit that to see kind of what they end up coming up with after they changed it all around and they
Right.
changed the whole design, and you have Jim Carrey. I feel like this has a high fail possibility,
Yep.
but we'll see. But I'm kind of curious. What do you think?
Yeah, well, first of all, I did not personally have much of an issue with how Sonic originally looked in the first trailer that we got. I know everybody was really upset. I didn't care. And they've made those changes, and now he just looks exactly like he did in the game. So I don't think there's any creativity there, but good for them for listening to the fans. And I know a lot of people feel like we should all go out and see it to kind of reward the studio for listening to the fans and making those changes, which I can see that point. But I don't think it looks very good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll still see it just because I see most things. But yeah, not super excited about it.
I mean, frankly, I thought the bigger problem than the design of the first trailer was the bizarre music choice. Like,
Yeah.
why were they playing Gigs to Paradise
Oh,
in
right.
the middle of this Sonic the Hedgehog trailer? It was, to me, that was very weird. I mean, it didn't fit at all what I was seeing on screen. But that was just me. But it has a high fail possibility, I think.
Yes.
But if they get sort of if they capture kind of that 90s spirit of fun, and they get there's a chance maybe it might be good. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 2.
Okay. I'll give it a 1.5.
Yeah. Um, okay, so then there's this movie, The Photograph, and so it was weird. This trailer, I kept expecting, for some reason, I kept expecting it to all of a sudden turn dark, but then it didn't. I was like, oh, this is just a
Right.
romantic story. I don't know why. It felt like it was all sort of lead up. but yeah, it's just a romance, and it looked pretty cute to me.
Yeah, it kind of gave me if Beale Street could talk vibes, except not as not as quality. I I don't know. I
Mm.
like Keith Stanfield a lot. Issa Rae is kind of hit or miss for me. So I don't know. I'm not super excited about this one, but I'm hoping it'll be good regardless.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean, I really disliked Beale Street Could Talk, so hopefully you like
yeah.
that. But yeah, I mean, it looked to me like kind of trying to do what Tyler Perry does, but better. So
Yes.
hopefully that will be the case. But we'll see. It opens on Valentine's, so
Hmm.
nice to have a just true romance open on Valentine's. That'll be nice, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I am going to give it a 3.5.
Okay. I'll give it a 2.
Okay. All right. My most anticipated for February is on the 21st, the new version of Emma. I love my costume dramas and I love my Jane Austen. And one thing that really impressed me about this trailer is I just liked how kind of untidy it was, how it wasn't, it doesn't appear to be one of those sort of overly precious type versions of Jane Austen. Like I liked the fact that Emma and Mr. Knightley were like really shouting and were like really fighting. And I just think it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Bill Nighy as her dad, and I just love the story of Emma, and I think the casting all looks good, and so I'm really looking forward to this movie.
Yeah. So I'm not familiar with this story. I don't
Mhm.
read Jane Austen, but I do like the cast a lot. I think it looks like it has a lot of personality.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
good word to describe it.
right. It didn't really give me much of a plot based on the trailers I watched, but that can be a good thing. But yeah, it doesn't give me enough to be super excited, but I'd probably say I'm around a 2.5 on this one as well.
Okay. Yeah, I would give this one 4.5. It totally looks like my jam
Awesome.
of stuff that I would like.
Right.
Um, so all right. Then on the 21st, we also have The Call of the Wild. So I mean I like this book and I like the story and I like Harrison Ford. I do feel a little nervous about the fact that the wolf is CGI, and I don't know why they did that when you can just get a wolf-like dog
Right.
that's trained and everything. And um, so that makes me a little nervous. What do you feel?
Yeah, it makes me a lot nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks pretty ridiculous to be honest, because
Yeah.
it's like either go all the way cartoon or all the way realistic. This is like in between there. Like it looks like a cartoon dog trying to look realistic. I guess it's a wolf, but
Yeah.
I think it looks kind of cringy to be honest. This is probably one of the ones I'm least excited to out of all 3 months we're talking about, and
Hmm.
mainly just because of that horrible CGI. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is like a 0.5 for me.
Ooh. I'm gonna give it a 2.
Oh wow, generous
Yeah,
there.
just because I love the book
Okay.
and I
And
love Harrison Ford.
yeah,
The,
yeah, and I
the
haven't read the book, so
yeah, the story is a classic.
right.
And so that alone, but and that's the three negative points off of it is because of that choice. By the way, I don't know if you have Disney Plus, but
Yes.
the Togo movie,
Right. Yes.
Hidden Gem.
Okay.
It was really I really enjoyed it. Okay. The 28th we have Wendy, and I did not know about this movie at all.
Oh really?
No, I hadn't heard about it. I didn't know it was coming out, but I'm really excited because it's the director of Beasts of the Southern Wild, which
Hmm.
is a really good movie, very atmospheric, very different, beautiful film, in my opinion. And so this, I mean, I didn't think I could get excited about a new version of Peter Pan because we just had so many
Right.
for a couple of years. But this looks really unique. The style, the approach, and so I was very intrigued by the trailer.
Yeah, I saw this trailer a couple weeks ago at the movie theater, and for some reason I was like, "Wait, is this the new Lord of the Flies?"
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it turned out it was about the Lost Boys and Wendy. So yeah, I think it looks really interesting. It seems like a very like realistic approach for it, and an
Hmm.
artistic approach as well. So yeah, I'm very intrigued by this. And this is my most anticipated movie of
Yeah.
February.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably give this a 4.5, close.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4 as well. Have you seen Beasts of the Southern Wild?
I have, yeah, it was very good.
Yeah, it is really good.
Hmm.
So definitely that was a pleasant surprise. I did not know about that.
Yeah.
So then we have on the 6th, we have Onward. And I'm really excited for this movie. I mean, I love Pixar movies. There are very few misses for me as a studio. I think that this movie is going to have a big heart to it.
Hmm.
The director Dan Scanlon, he lost his father when he was very young, and so he always wanted to do a movie about characters that get to have one day with their dad. And so that's sort of the I think would be the emotional core of the movie.
Hmm.
And I think that that Chris Pratt and Tom Holland will have a nice chemistry together, even if it's only vocal performance. I think it'll be good, and it's such an interesting creative world that they've designed. This sort of suburban fantasy world set in the 70s. So I'm really looking forward to it, and so I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay. Yeah, the first little teaser that dropped didn't really give us much plot to go off
Mm-hmm.
of. And I was like, it looks okay. I expect more from Pixar. But the trailers since then, I've definitely been a lot more intrigued. It's almost like this fantasy, like vampire world meets Weekend at Bernie's. I don't know why. It just reminds me, like,
Yeah,
walking around with their dad. It just reminds me of Weekend at Bernie's. But yeah, I think it's going to have a lot of heart, and I could see this being a big tearjerker. So I'm pretty optimistic for this, and I'll give this probably a 4.
it's nice. We have two original films from Pixar
Hmm.
in 2020. So
Yeah,
that's
and
I'm
they're
really excited about.
not very spread out either. They're coming
Yeah.
out within like 3 months of each other.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see which one ends up, or if they hopefully they'll both be great.
Yeah,
So,
I hope so.
all right. Then we have The Way Back. This movie I'm very intrigued about. I love my underdog sports movies.
Hmm.
And this basically looks like the exact same plot of Hoosiers. But but I'm fine with that. I Gavin O'Connor is the director, and I love Warrior. I think that movie that he directed is such a good movie. I love it, and he also did Miracle. So it's definitely in his wheelhouse. Making a sports movie, it feels slightly uncomfortable seeing Ben Affleck play this alcoholic, but because of his life experience, but
Right.
that could make it really good. It could make it extra real. But yeah, it's just like I don't want him making this movie to make him worse as a human. You know what I'm saying? Like to make him go back on his recovery.
Yeah.
So that's sort of uncomfortable, but that uncomfortableness could be a benefit to the movie depending on script. Um, but I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Hoosiers because that's the very first thing I thought of when I watched the trailer. And I thought, oh, this is a movie I've seen a lot. And I'm not big on sports underdog movies.
Hmm.
Not big on sports movies in general. So yeah, it didn't do a lot for me. It looks like one that I would definitely skip if I didn't have my subscription to AMC where I can see 3 movies a week for free, so I may go see it anyways.
Yeah.
Um,
What about Warrior? Have you seen Warrior?
I didn't see it.
I really recommend it. I think it's really about these two brothers and their relationship, more than it is about mixed martial arts. And
Okay.
Nick Nolte as their dad is so good. It's got Tom Hardy, Joel Edgerton. Uh, it's
Good cast.
really really good. It's a really good movie in my opinion, and so I highly recommend it. Yeah, so I mean, I'd give this a 4.
Okay. I'll give it a 1.
Mm-hmm. All right. Then on the 13th, Bloodshot. So this movie to me, I thought it looked kind of terrible. It's a superhero movie, but it looked I don't know, it looked cheap, and I wasn't impressed by the trailer and the all red cinematography when it gets to these sequences I thought looked cheesy, and Vin Diesel is gonna he's I don't know, didn't look the best. It looked like he's gonna have a lot of staring at screens, which I hate in these kind of movies. Boring. I don't know. I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, I actually pretty much feel the same way. I thought it seemed intriguing before I watched the trailer, and then afterwards, I was like, oh, it looks kind of dull, and it looks like they're trying too hard to recreate a bunch of other movies that have come out lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it just seems very derivative and unoriginal and having zero heart to it. So, not super excited about it. Probably
Yeah.
1.5
Uh,
for me.
yeah, same. All right. Then on the 13th of March, we have My Spy. This just looks like a throwaway generic
And they've been
movie.
dragging it out so long. Been
Yeah.
watching this trailer for months.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see what Dave Bautista is trying to do with his career, but this doesn't. I don't know. I feel like we've seen this so many times with action directors who will do like, I mean, action actors who will do like the family film,
Right.
and like they're almost always terrible.
Yeah. And I just have to remind myself that not every movie am I the main audience for. And
Yeah.
I'm not the main audience for this movie. So I'm hoping, sure, let it be good for kids to watch. But I just really don't care too much about this.
Yeah, I give it a 1.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a 1.5.
Yeah, and Dave Bautista, he's not my favorite, especially I don't know, the last little while he's been kind of, I don't know, irritating
Hmm.
to me. And so he's not, yeah, it's not going to win me over just based on personality alone.
Right.
And like, and that I feel like, The Rock did a bunch of these kind of movies, and I feel like his personality is more up my alley, I guess,
Hmm.
in that regard. So, okay. Then we have, on the 13th, we have The Invisible Man. And this, I actually forgot to watch a trailer about this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I think I've seen it when I went to see Black Christmas,
Okay.
which we'll have lots to say in our recap
Lots
video
to
about that.
say,
But yeah, it looks interesting, creative take on the story. What did you think?
yeah, I couldn't imagine them, like when I heard The Invisible Man was going to be a movie coming out soon. I just couldn't picture it being interesting or working really. It's just hard to have a villain that's invisible.
Mm-hmm.
But it actually does work, I think, based on the trailer. It really like has that layer of wondering whether the protagonist, whether she's crazy or not. And I don't know, it just worked for me. I was really hooked when I saw the trailer. So yeah, I'm pretty excited
Yeah,
about this one.
because she can't get the inheritance or whatever
Right.
if she is deemed insane.
Exactly.
So that kind of adds a layer as well. So his sort of revenge on her becomes complete. So yeah, I liked it. So I'll give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I would probably give it a 4.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then on the 20th, we have A Quiet Place Part 2. I do think the trailer was pretty effective in this, and it kind of built the tension well, just like the original movie did. There are a couple things that make me a little nervous. Mainly, it looks like we're going to see the monsters a lot more, and that could be a bad thing and make it more generic. Like it's always scarier what you don't see than what you see, and it just looked like they're going to be showing these aliens or whatever they are a lot more, and also it just feels like I know we don't technically need any movie, but the first one just was such a nice package. So it does make me a little nervous. Now we're getting a second one because the first one made so much money. And but I still liked the trailer. I really like Emily Blunt, and I trust that her and John Krasinski wouldn't do this if they didn't have a decent story. So
Right. Yeah. When I first heard that they were making a sequel, I was really hoping it would be following different characters.
I know, me too.
Um, yeah. So I've been kind of nervous about it for a while because A Quiet Place, I mean, it honestly, it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite movies ever, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really loved it. I think it was like second or third favorite of 2018. But watching this trailer, my worries have gone away. Um,
Hmm.
it it really had me hooked. It had me intrigued. I like these new characters they're introducing. They have a lot of mystery behind them, and I don't mind seeing these creatures a little bit more. Like we already got the reveal of what they look like in the last movie, so I think it's okay to show them a little bit more.
Hmm.
But yeah, this is my most anticipated movie of March,
Yeah.
of this 3 month period, and of the year. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'd give it a. I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
okay, it's a solid five,
Yeah.
if not a six.
I hope it's good so
Yeah,
much.
I really hope so too.
Yeah. Because I loved the first one and I got so spooked by it that uh, I just remember coming out of the theater and someone it had such great atmosphere and it really wound me up. And I came out and somebody was kind of popped up from drinking in the drinking fountain, and I was like, oh! He was like, this is some teenager. He was like, what's wrong with you, lady? And not every movie can pull that off, so it was really good.
That's funny.
Um,
And just to say, for all the listeners, don't eat popcorn during this movie. It's so obnoxious.
yeah, for real, and don't talk or bring a baby or anything
Yes.
like that. Yeah,
It needs to be a quiet place.
yeah. Okay, then on the 20th, we have I Still Believe, faith-based film. It looks pretty generic, but and it just reminds me, I feel so bad. I feel bad for Britt Robertson. She's had such, I think she's a good actress, and she's just had some, I think, pretty bad luck with projects that on the surface
Hmm.
seemed like they would be really good for her career, and then they haven't. So this is where she's at, which is a bummer. But yeah, it looked pretty generic to me.
Yeah, I mean, I assume you're probably familiar with Jeremy Camp's story, right?
I'm actually not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when Jeremy Camp first like became like a big thing in the Christian music scene, for me, like I knew everything that had happened with his wife and her sickness. Like that was one of the first things I knew about him. So, knowing that and where his path went, I actually am a little bit intrigued for this, and seeing as how much of a surprise I can only imagine was for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not very down on this actually, um, which a lot of faith-based films I would be kind of
Mhm.
cautious about, but I think this has potential to be decent.
Mm.
So I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
Okay, I'm gonna give it 2,
Okay.
but hopefully it'll be one of the good ones. All right, then on the 27th we have Mulan. I've said before, I don't like that it looks like she went to the salon in the middle of the battle. I don't like, why does she have her hair like that? But that's a nitpick. Other than that, it looks pretty good. I like it seems like the overall approach is going to be a pretty good movie. They are varying from the original, but that's fine. I'd rather that than a shot for shot.
Yep.
Like The Lion King. They've had some controversy with the cast supporting the police in this problem, this thing going on in China. But so that'll be fun for Disney to deal with. But just as a movie, I think it looks pretty good.
Okay. So this is probably a hot take, but Mulan is one of my least favorite Disney animated movies.
Uh-huh.
The only things that I kind of enjoy about Mulan is the music, and I like Mushu.
So both things are gone.
Yep. So I think this looks really boring, personally.
It definitely has that potential.
Yeah. And I am all about like not doing the shot for shot remakes for Disney and doing something a little different. But why did it have to be Mulan? Why couldn't we have done that with one of the other ones? So I don't know. I mean, it's great that we're getting more movies with um, Asian leads.
Mhm.
So I can't be mad about that. But I think it's going to be boring. I'll still give it a 2.
I'm gonna give it a 3, but I mean, these live action remakes are not my favorite. But I'm just trying to be optimistic, I guess. I don't know.
Sorry to rain on your parade.
No, I mean, I'm certainly not. I have mixed feelings about all these remakes because I love the original Mulan. But I think that I'm just hoping that it will be I'm just hoping it will be a good movie, but we'll see. All right. Then on the third, your most anticipated of the year, I think, Not a Quiet Place 2, is Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, because you loved the first one so much. And I'm not being sarcastic. You loved it.
I did love the first one. It was a surprise for me.
Uh-huh.
And you know what? This has the ability to be a surprise for me as well. And that's because I don't think the trailer looks very good.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I'll be surprised again. It just doesn't have the elements in the trailer that I really liked about the first movie. It doesn't have that conflict between Donald Gleason and Peter. It doesn't have all those characters those animals that live at the house. It's kind of taking on a new scenery.
Mm-hmm.
So didn't really make me laugh based on this trailer. So this is all good news, honestly. Like, it's good that I'm not too hyped about it. Because there's no way to go but up.
I mean, it does look like it is going to be a lot of physical comedy type jokes, like the painful
Right.
her Mr. McGregor jokes. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one like you were, but I saw the appeal. I can understand it. It wasn't a disaster like it looked like in the trailers. So yeah, I don't know. I'll give this 2 stars.
Okay, I'll give it a 3, but that's based on my liking of the first one mostly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you're resentful that we get Peter Rabbit 2, you blame David.
Yeah,
it's his fault. Okay, then we have the New Mutants that are supposedly coming out finally. That's sort of my main appeal, honestly, to this movie, just to see it because it's been talked about for so long. They released the first trailer in 2017. And now it's finally, I mean, I'm frankly kind of shocked that it's not just going to Disney Plus. And So it makes me think there has to be something interesting about it for it to be worth, especially after the failure of Dark Phoenix, for them to put it out in theaters. It has to have something interesting about it, that it's sort of a horror take on a superhero movie.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of curious because of the delay, actually.
Yeah, I'm very curious. This is something that like we've been seeing the trailer for it for quite a while
Yeah,
now, and
three
I've
years.
yeah, I've always thought it looked really intriguing. I like this horror element that they've added here, um, and I always thought this looked way better than Dark Phoenix, which I never did see.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm still looking forward to this. I don't know why it's been delayed so long, but I'm hoping it'll be good. So
Yeah, I'll give it 3 stars.
okay, I'll give it 4.
Okay, then on the 10th, we have No Time to Die. This is our, I think, fifth
Yes.
film with Daniel Craig as James Bond. They have been a bit hit and miss
Hmm.
as far as a series. I think that he has been really strong through all of them. And I think that I like this version of James Bond because he's more of a human. He's not just some uh, I don't know, more bland womanizer. Like you have, like he actually has feelings and emotion and has a character arc, and so I like that about this version of James Bond. But I liked Skyfall a lot, and I liked Casino Royale a lot. I didn't like Quantum of Solace very much, and I didn't like Spectre that much. So like I feel like we're due a good one.
Okay.
Um, so, and I thought the trailer looked really fun. I thought it looks like it's gonna have some really cool action set pieces, and so I'm excited about it. I think it looks pretty good.
Okay. So the only one of the 4 that I really didn't think was great was Quantum of Solace.
Hmm.
I thought the other 3 were quite strong. So I'm feeling good about this. The only thing is watching the trailer, I'm like, oh, I've forgotten so much. Like there's these characters that I remember, but I don't remember everything. So I may have to at least watch Spectre again, especially since Christoph Waltz is back and he's Inspector. Um, so
Yeah,
I think it'll be good. I'm ready to quit hearing Daniel Craig complain about being James Bond.
yeah, that's true. It's like, oh, poor you. You have
Yeah,
such a hard life being a movie
been doing
star.
that for years. So
Yeah. So on the 17th, there's a horror movie called Antlers, and I thought it looked pretty scary. The
mhm.
trailer was pretty creepy with this little boy and then this creature. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, this is something I've been looking forward to since like probably about a year ago when I first saw like a few images from the movie, and I know it's Guillermo del Toro produced, so I think it looks very intriguing. Um, I like Carrie Russell. I haven't seen her in a lot lately, but yeah, I think it looks pretty intriguing. I like the first trailer better than the first or the second one,
Hmm.
so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm probably about 3.5 on this.
Yeah, I'll be a 3,
Okay.
but yeah, it looked pretty scary. I thought I don't know which trailer I saw, but yeah. Okay, then there's Promising Young Woman. It looks interesting. I worry after seeing Black Christmas that it'll be uh too sort of on the nose about its female empowerment. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That it won't handle that well. But hopefully it'll do it in a sort of subversive way, uh, and it'll be an effective little thriller movie, interesting movie. You have this revenge movie about this woman who is getting back at these men who abused her or just men in general after getting raped in college.
Hmm.
And it's got Carrie Mulligan So I don't know. Depending on the writing, I feel like on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing this trailer a couple weeks ago at a movie, and I was with two of my friends, and we were all like, right after the trailer finished, we were like, "Oh my gosh, we need to see this." So we were all very positive on
Hmm.
this, and I still am. I think this is an example of how to do a trailer right. Everything they did about it, like starting off with a little bit of mystery to it, and then adding in that music, it just really intrigued me.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not too worried. I mean, I get your points, especially with how Black Christmas turned out, but
Yeah. Ooh.
I trust this as of now, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll give it a 3.
Okay, I'll give it a 4.5.
Hmm. Okay. Then we have on the 17th, we have Trolls World Tour. And I'm so confused what DreamWorks is doing with this because the first movie, I liked the animation. It had a good song, Can't Stop the Feeling.
Hmm.
And it had cute moments, but it also, I didn't really like the message of the first one about how everyone has to like the same things and everyone has to like doing the same activities or you're a bad person and the whole sort of my fair lady element to it, I just didn't like that. And now it seems like they're doubling down on that. Not only do you have to like the same music as everybody else, but it literally defines who you are and where you come from. And so it's like this weird like fascist trolls world and where everyone has to be the same, and I don't like that. It's not good. And I just think this whole concept is so bizarre. You have all these different worlds, and each world or lands or whatever, and each land only likes one kind of music. And so I don't know, I'm just baffled. I'm baffled by this movie.
Okay, well, I'm not getting that at all, actually. Like, I'm not saying this is a great trailer, but I'll be honest, I think you're reading a bit more into like the message it's trying to give. I don't think that it's trying to like make that message about like I just think that's just how the troll culture works. It's a fictional thing, and that's just they're defined by their music that they like. So I don't know. I think you're reading into it, right?
Why should they all have to like the same thing
They
though?
just happen to do it. Maybe it's in their DNA. I don't know.
It's so weird to me. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure I am reading more to the little kids, but I don't know. I was just like, I think it's such a strange, just a strange idea for a movie. But hopefully it'll be a surprise. I don't know. The least I hope we get a good song out of it.
Yeah, and I'm sure we will. And I really like that first soundtrack for Trolls.
Yeah, yeah, me
Um,
too.
yeah, so yeah, I really was surprised by how much I enjoyed the first movie. It was a lot better than I expected. I didn't get, I guess I don't always read into like the morality or message that a movie's trying to give unless it's a little more blatant.
Uh huh.
But yeah, so I'm only optimistic for this because of how much I like the first one. Kind of like Peter Rabbit. So I'll probably give this a 2.5.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll give it a 1.5 or
Rachel,
2.
you need to
Yeah.
chill out. Chill out.
No, it's
Not
so
that
weird.
serious.
I don't. Um, but okay. Then there's an Antebellum movie. I felt like the trailer was very vague. Couldn't tell a whole lot about it.
Yeah, there's really not much to go off of yet, but I'm intrigued. It definitely seems like they're trying to get us the new, like the next Get Out or Us with this movie, and it has Janelle Monáe, whom I love. But yeah, there's really not much to go off of. The trailer it definitely has me intrigued, though.
Hmm. Yeah, it looked interesting, but yeah, we don't know much. So I'd give it like a 2.5 right now.
Okay, I'll give it a 3.5.
Okay. And the last one is Bad Trip. And this is just not for me. It's a prank movie. Um, that's not my thing. I don't
Right.
really. Yeah. So I don't know. I give it like a 1. It's not for
Okay.
me. Not for
Yeah,
me.
this one, it's been delayed a bit. I'm not sure why. It doesn't look great, and I'm kind of confused how they're able to pull off these pranks with like such recognizable faces, like especially Tiffany Haddish. Who wouldn't recognize that as Tiffany Haddish?
Right.
If not for her face, her voice. She's not
Right.
disguising her voice. So, I don't know. I'll probably give it a shot, but I'm not expecting great things, so maybe a 2 for me.
Hmm. Very good. We did it. So
We
that
did it.
is what is coming out the next 3 months. So if you are listening, let us know what you're excited for, what rankings you would give it as your excitement levels. Let us know. That would be really fun in the comment section or on Twitter. We'd love to talk about it. And David, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I am the David Healy. And then you can find us both on Facebook at Film Freaks. It's a Facebook group. You can go to facebook.com/Film Freaks Group.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that all out. And we will be in the next couple of weeks. We'll have our winter recap, and that will be fun as well. So look forward to that.
Mhm.
So thanks so much, David. It's always fun. And check out our link to our patron group if we'd love to have you on there. And we also have our merch store. So there's also a link to that. So check it out. And we will talk again soon. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.